You are now in the presence of a king.
All right, we are here once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We are on time. That's what we're going to say. We're on time. This was planned, and everyone else is late. All right, so anything else anyone has to say, you can stop what you're doing right now. All right, welcome to the Blerds of the Cosmic Portal. I am your host tonight, Paladin. With us, as always, we have my good friend Calibus, Bishop, and Marky Mark, my mentors, my Obi-Wan Kenobi's, one Sith Lord in there. We'll deal with that later. So, how y'all brothers doing tonight? How you doing?
Doing good.
Doing well.
Well, that's not his normal cup, though, so he can't be doing too well. Normally, he has his copper cup, his copper mug, got that Moscow Mule going on.
I'm not drinking a Moscow Mule tonight.
You know, I think he wants to hide what's happening in his liquid vessel there. You know, I'm not sure what's actually happening. Well, we'll keep an eye on him throughout the show tonight. If things get out of hand, he may or may not disappear. We'll see what happens. All right, so we got a pretty good show lined up for everybody tonight. Some topics we want to get into. We're gonna jump right into it. We got Mark who went to Convivio, right? Yeah.
No, we went to GalaxyCon Richmond.
GalaxyCon, that's what it was.
Yeah,
I'm getting my cons mixed up. GalaxyCon. We'll get a report from him on that. You can see some content, hear what he experienced there, what he can talk about anyway. Apparently, there's some stuff he can't talk about. We're gonna get into that Superman trailer, that sneak peek. It's been setting the internet aflame for one reason or another. We also want to take a look at that Tron trailer and give our thoughts on that, because that just dropped today too. And we got a little bit of Gundam news, and then we'll wrap things up talking about some games that we've been playing. I'm trying to diversify our subject matter on the Blerds of the Cosmic Portal. So we're going to talk games, we're going to talk movies, anime, all the good stuff. So we only got about an hour to get into it, so I'm going to stop rambling. Mark, what you got for GalaxyCon? How was it?
actually, we had a great time. I always enjoy going. My wife and I went together. We took a lot of pictures. So we have pictures that we can show as well. Let me just bring that up.
And go ahead, man.
I was going to say, now looking at some of these are the cosplays that we took the pictures of. We had so many people there. Now, GalaxyCon is different from a lot of cons because it doesn't just focus on just anime or just DC or Marvel or any of that. It's a little mix of everything up there. I enjoy going. We get to see William Shatner, so there's Star Trek there. We went to a few different.
Was he there this year?
William Shatner's there every year.
Oh, okay.
Like nice. He's never there. I don't think he's ever not going to be there. So I'll just put it that way. We went to his panel. He talks a lot, so you don't know if you're going to get an answer to a question that you may have, but you're going to get some type of story as well. There's a lot of vendors there. They have this whole room full of vendors, and they have some really cool things. I do have a book that I can bring to everybody that shows exactly what it is. It is 4 days. So it was Thursday through Sunday. And this is the book that we got. And it tells you a breakdown of everything that's in it. So you got what's going on, what celebrities are there. Wow. And again, it even breaks down what's going on in specific days. So that's always cool to see. we did pick up a few things like this picture here. I really wanted this, but this was, I think it was $300. But
that's one big thing of the
one big picture.
wow.
So, and I'm like, where the heck am I going to put that at? It's huge. I had no idea, but it was neat to see some of the stuff. This is the one I sent Calibus when we were there. It was $150, but he was going to give it to me for $75. Still sitting there like I don't have any place to put it, but I do have his business card. So I did look at that, and I did purchase this.
You give me that information because
I'll get that to you. So this I did buy.
Yeah, that's fire. I like that.
Yeah, and it lights up red as you can see in the picture. And then my wife got the one right above it. So this one is hers.
Oh, that's epic. So, let's go.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So we did get those. And this one was outside the main room. And then, like I said, you got cosplays galore. Saturday was probably the worst day. Thursday and Friday wasn't too bad for trying to get around. This is one of the panels we went to, which it was interesting, but she focused on comics from a Jewish point of view, which I never really thought about. I always looked at it. Jewish people created most of the superheroes we know, but they don't have any representation in comics anymore. But she was looking at actual characters being Jewish, and why aren't they, how do you put it? Why aren't they saying that they're Jewish when you look at them? Like Ben Grimm is Jewish, but I had no idea he was supposed to be Jewish. Yeah. Matt Murdock. Yeah, we know that person's Jewish. Who else did she talk about?
Wait, what you talking about? Daredevil?
Daredevil is Catholic.
Yeah, he's Catholic.
No, she said he was Jewish.
She said anybody fact checker? Ain't nobody fact
Magneto is Jewish, yes, but she was naming a whole bunch of different characters that should be Jewish and is not Jewish. And then she said, "Okay, Moon Knight," and I was like, "That was very, very." But he did some Jewish things, but not really focused on the Jewish aspect, because the funeral that they had in the house was a Jewish ceremony, but they didn't really go much into that. So that was what she kept talking about. And the girl from, Captain America Brave New World, that was in charge of security, she is a Marvel character who is Jewish.
Oh yeah, I know.
But they had nothing to talk about when it came to her.
Well, they downplayed that. They downplayed her ethnicity as being Jewish because of what was going on in the real world. Yeah. So they toned that down because of this.
But she was very upset about a lot of those things, and I was like, some of it, I'm like listening to it, I'm thinking, yeah, I can understand her point of view because I know when I go and see something, I always like, well, where's the black people? I do the exact same thing.
But seriously, it's their religion. So, as a Jewish character, are they supposed to carry the Star of David around their neck to let them know, "Oi, I'm Jewish"?
She said that some of these people do carry the Star of David around their neck to let them know they're Jewish, and they didn't do it. They did it in a comic book, but they're not doing it on the live action. So
she's upset that is not being shown for these characters.
Correct. That's what her whole thing was.
I guess I can kind of see the point, like the Huntress. She wears a crucifix.
Mm-hmm.
So I can kind of see that if it's part of the characters,
Yeah, but how many people are Jewish are practicing their religion, or they need to make that statement?
Well, I guess if the character, if it's like part of the character in the comic books, I guess that's what she's saying, is she'd like to see that being represented on the big screen because that's part of who they are.
I get that part, but I didn't know Ben Grimm was Jewish because no one said that, hey, I'm Jewish. You know what I'm saying? To me, he was just a white guy.
Yeah, he
got transformed into a rock dude.
Right. But I never thought about it either. And she was like, well, he had a Jewish wedding in the comic book, and they did one thing but they downplayed it, which was kind of weird. And then she also talked about Scarlet Witch's son that was in what was the TV show that was out?
You talking about Agatha Harkness?
Yes, he's Jewish, the son, who is Scarlett Johansson, the Scarlet Witch's son. But they didn't do anything about his Jewish, anything about that notated in the TV show. But he's a Jewish character, and she was upset about that.
Like I said, I guess I can see her. I can see her point to a degree. Yeah, I can see. But you know what though?
My thing though is because they're Jewish. So now what we're supposed to do every time this is a Jewish character, put a Jewish star on them. I mean, you know what I mean?
No. I'm not saying they're saying that, but I think what they're saying is, if that is ingrained in the character in the comics, they'd like to see that being a little bit more represented, maybe on the big screen, if they introduce a character like that.
Okay, correct. I get that, but what I'm saying is none of these characters over the last so and so years. So Ben Grimm gets married, and he smashes the little bottle like the Jewish wedding. So now, okay, that lets you know that he's Jewish. Okay. Right. So what I'm saying is, how are you going to play that off that now that he's supposed to come out, with the Star of David on his neck and say, "Oh, I'm Jewish." Don't forget that I'm Jewish.
Maybe not that, but I could see maybe you see the Torah on a book stand, nightstand, or something like that. I get it. They're stretching. That's a
huge.
The way I look at it, we feel underrepresented when we look at media, and she feels underrepresented when she looks at media.
Like I said, I get it.
That's from a religion point of view, because they all.
But sometimes it's also a Jewish thing that's also a religion and a national identity, right?
Yeah.
Unlike a Christian, where I'm a Christian but I'm American, right? There's not
it's not
the two aren't closely linked, right?
No,
it's
but
like
Jewish Americans,
Judaism and Jews. That me and my wife was just discussing that this morning. That's something else.
All I'm saying is,
no. Listen, I get what you want.
You want these characters represented, but now you want us to show off their religion part of their character.
So look, I got a question for Mark, so that we don't get too off in the weeds. What did she offer anything for what she would like to see? Like, did she offer any solutions to say, hey?
Not a solution, but she was like, she's excited about, let me say this first. She is a Marvel fan. She's a college graduate, and she wrote her dissertation on Marvel and Jewish characters or something in Marvel. So this is where she's coming from. So, of course, we have the Fantastic Four coming out the week after Superman. She wants to see if they're going to have that Jewish representation with Ben Grimm coming in that movie. Correct. But that's what she would hope for. She did say she hopes to see more representation when it comes to that type of thing. Because I
can understand that though.
Because
listen,
I have no idea.
I can see how they can I haven't seen Daredevil. But wasn't the name of the new show called what? Born Again or something like that? But so we know he's Catholic, and I'm sure we probably see him in church or even prayer.
He's always talking to the priest. Remember, he was hanging off the cross.
I think that's what this woman is trying to get, is that characters that are known to be Jews, to see that their religion is being reflected more so.
Okay, but again, my point is, now you want us to you want us to show off that religion towards the character. Maybe that religion doesn't define that character. If it fits the character where he's going to temple and he's, but they don't do that for these characters. And she's like, well, I want to see that. The only problem with that is you're a 1% minority on that.
And then I'm looking at it. It's hard, like you just said. How are you going to have representation when the story should focus on the story, not on that specific aspect?
Well, at one point in time, we did have these DEI agendas, so that should have been something that should have checked somebody's box. But at the same time, we know that we had one actress working for Disney talking about pro-Palestine Then we had another actress for Disney talking about pro-Israel, and we saw what happened with that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so true. I was going to say the only other thing I would look at when it comes to that is
Like,
so true, right?
I mean,
So true.
That's not untrue, you
Yeah.
know.
And we can go on a whole different tangent when it comes to
Bird.
stand-up. But yeah, I had no issues with her. I thought she was quite interesting because, she brought up a topic that nobody else has really discussed before. I've never seen that at a panel, and I was glad to go to the show. So
Now, see, if I may pause and pose a question real quick. Calibus, you are a resident author, and you have very serious and, sometimes funny religious undertones in your, and sometimes, look, it's just right in your face, and especially in Darkness Fighting Darkness. As a creator, is that important to you to see that represented on the screen? Because again, it's so ingrained into your story. Would you be offended? They do everything else, but they take that part out of it. They pull the religion out of your story.
Which story are we talking about?
We're talking
If we're talking
either
Darkness versus Darkness, where you want to pull the Christian religion part out of my story, but it's ingrained in the story. It's part of the story. It's the main beef of that part of the story. But when you talk about a character that's been around for 60 plus years, 70 plus years, and the only time they do is Mazel Tov and he stomps a glass.
Look, I get you.
You know what I mean? That's my
stretching.
problem. Then you're like, well, I want more representation of their religion part. But you got to remember, no one's reading the comic to see if this guy goes to church. He is called the Devil of Hell's Kitchen.
Right.
His God versus demons thing is part of the Daredevil motif, which makes it a nice vehicle. The rest of these characters don't. If you would have started out, like I said, let's just say Mary Jane is Jewish, and I got to go to temple X amount of certain part, Now all of a sudden in the movie, Mary Jane's partying up the street, and I'm like, well, this is a girl that went to temple all this time, and da 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 da. She shouldn't be acting like that. What bring me back that flavor.
Okay,
that's when I feel that it is missing. But when you come at me and say that I would like to see more representation, I would like to see more representation. I would like to stop downplaying what happened to certain characters versus their sexual identities. I don't care about who's sleeping with who. I just want my characters to suit up and kick butt. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel kind of, if it's part of the character, by all means, Marvel should put it in the movie, and they should be able to have that little bit of identity, saying that this is the type of person that they are. This is what they believe, because, those are moral dilemmas.
Right.
When you're fighting a villain and you want to let him die, your religion plays a big part in that. Are you just going to let this guy die, or does the Jewish faith teach you a different way of things? You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying. Okay.
That's
now you bring that up. The one person that is representing Jews and has always done it in live action movies would be Magneto.
Oh,
he's a survivor of the Holocaust.
Survivor of the Holocaust. That's right.
Killed.
Yeah.
Because of these things. So he is a true representation of what's going on with that. But you don't see that in his character. You just know because of what he's done. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, part of his history. Yeah.
Yes, it's a part of his history.
Good talks. Good talks. Let's keep pressing so we don't spend all the show on this.
I figured.
So we got some great pictures. Anything else notable for the con before we move on?
These two. Look at this. Look at this. Demon Slayer, right?
Yes.
Demon Slayer. Yeah.
Tanjiro and his sister.
That's his daughter.
Well, I know, but the characters.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I don't know that, but
yeah.
I don't know who those people are, but
Well, yeah, we had a
it's a
pretty
great
good time.
cosplay though.
Yeah. Now, I did want to say, like, my brother-in-law here, he is really into anime. So for him, we had a discussion to ask his views on this con because he's gone to NecoCon, which is a huge anime convention, but this one focuses on a little bit of everything. He said he would go again, because he was impressed by everything else. What else did he bring up while we were there?
You just really saw the difference with it being Nikon being just an anime, where this one's a little bit of everything. And because he was a major anime person, I think that he was a little bored, because at the NecoCon, the evening they have the raves, and I think he was looking kind of towards that. Where here at GalaxyCon, they kind of focus, at least the evening shows, more of 18 plus panels versus NecoCon, the raves, and all the youngies, dancing loud music.
Yeah, they have that here, but because we had a little, a 12, she's 13. So she was 13, so we couldn't go to the after hours stuff that was going on here. So that was why we just focused on what was going on during the day. And we left probably about 9 o'clock at night, usually, from each place. So, yeah, I think that's how, we had a great time, and I can't wait to go back again. We're also going to Raleigh this summer, so looking forward to that as well.
What's happening down in Raleigh?
Same con, just in a different location.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What's the dates for that? Is during the summer?
Yes.
July 24th, I believe. That Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
And
Sunday.
Now, may I add to that the Geek Fandom's NC is trying to get a table there. And if we get a table there, we'll be there. I'll be there at the table with Big L. If not, I'm going Saturday because Giancarlo Esposito will be there, and I need him to sign my Moff Gideon something. I don't know what. Pop, helmet, something.
The Chicken Man himself. How he rose to where he is today is amazing. It's great.
Big Brother Almighty.
Right. And he was the guy in jail in 40. What was it? Trading Places.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I definitely want to try to, because I love all the sci-fi stuff, so I definitely, I'm a big Star Trek nerd and all that. So it definitely want to try to make the next one.
You a Star Trek nerd? What?
Yeah, man. My mama got me watching the original series when I was younger, because that's what she grew up on, and that's what got me into Star Trek. And then, of course, Next Generation, is what I grew up on.
Oh my God, that's just so beautiful. You hear that, Vonda? We got to get him in there.
I've been telling you all that. I love Star Trek. Like I got the Enterprise D on my desk at work, because when I went to it wasn't BlurCon, it was BlurCon, but there was a guy who was making like basically ships in a bottle, but they're all starships. So he had all sorts of starships. He had the Defiant and the Enterprise, multiple versions of it, all in the bottles. I'll bring it for work next time and bring it here for the next show. To show you.
Yeah, please do. I'd like to see that.
We'll see.
That's great. Well, we're glad you had a great time. You got some great pictures and stuff like that. So, not to cut you short, but we do want to move on to the next topic so we can keep this train chugging along. So next up, we got Superman, and in our chat throughout the week, y'all started trying to give each other smoke, and I had to tell you to stop and save it for the content. We need content for the show, right? So let's get that up and prepared. So first off, did everyone have a chance to see it once already? That way we can kind of talk through it as it's planned, and we can just mute it for the claims so we can try to avoid those.
Absolutely.
Mark,
before you start, I've been seeing everybody else do it, so I'm gonna let the sound go. We just need to keep the commentary kind of flowing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And we'll see what happens. But we are going to download this. It is on Facebook, but I will hit it at all the other places. So let's do this.
All right.
When you're ready, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead and play it. Let's go.
All right.
And we can, like I said, we'll just talk over it. So what? Let's get some initial thoughts out there. No specific order. Who wants to?
This is my part right there.
So this was kind of cool. My wife, when she saw it, said, "What?"
The scene with the dog. I mean, when I saw the original trailer, I guess months ago, the dog looked fairly, I hate to say it, intelligent. In this trailer, the dog kind of seems like, hey, home, home, home. He's jumping on him like a dog does. And I just thought that he should be just a little bit more smart, I guess.
He's Crypto. He's Superman's dog. He should know what's going on.
Obedient, though. He's got his. That's what James Gunn said. That Crypto is his own thing. That he's wrecking up stuff because he's a super powered dog.
Yeah,
I love that. Like, get up, come on, let's play. Get up.
Yeah. I saw a lot of people reacting, but look, but look, now I had a slightly different reaction when I first started watching it. Because when I first started watching it, I just had my headphones on, sitting here and listening to it, and I was a little like my stomach sank a little bit listening to him scream because the sound effects of the like Crypto was breaking the bones some more. I was like,
"Yo, you heard it?
That sounds like what? Ooh."
Yeah, but that was funny. I mean, he's doing things a dog would do.
True, but he should be a little bit more smaller. He had to throw his cape in his face.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree. I was like, I thought it was maybe played a little bit too long for the comedy of like, oh no, the dog, he's too excited and he's not listening to what his master is saying. Maybe
That's
like the initial hop, and then he's like, oh, my bad. Because I heard one person talk about how, if you fall down and act like you're hurt in front of your dog, they're gonna come check on you first.
Yeah, they will. They will. But I mean,
but you have to admit,
want to play with you most of the time. I did love how the Fortress of Solitude came out of the ground. I thought that was amazing. Yeah. That was sweet.
That was.
And I love that we finally get to see the robots.
I was going to say, I love that they brought the robots because most people don't even see these in any other iteration of the story,
Yeah. Unless it's the animated films, because they did have them in the animated films, but none of the live action stuff.
I was going to say, but when Superman dies, the death of Superman, the reason they were able to bring him back is because the robots got him out of the tomb and saved his life because they were waiting for it. The first heartbeat, they heard the second heartbeat, which came like 2 or 3 days later. That's when they were able to track where he was actually at and take him out of the tomb. So if you read the comics, these guys have been in the comics for a while, and yet nobody's used them until this.
Now, that bit there was cool. The fortress turning, angling to the sun. I thought that was.
Yeah, I thought
that I did like that bit.
And then to get a right amount of rays.
And it's not like it's like, but bro, you were laying out in the sun, so like. But I my girlfriend was like, "Why is the sun burning him?" I'm like, "It's not burning him. It's accelerating his healing. Yeah. It's a concentrated dose. I wish I could get something injection to make me feel better, But and then everything after this point is stuff. It's all stuff that was in the other trailer, right?
Trailer that they've always shown.
Yeah. So so I'll say I think I saw a lot of negative reactions. People like, this is gonna be a horrible movie and this, that, and the other. I'm like, okay, that one scene is out of context, right? It's we know he had a fight probably with the kaiju or something like that. We don't know for sure, but he had a fight, got his butt whooped, couldn't make it all the way back to the fortress, and had to get help from Crypto and his robots. So other than that, we don't know. And I think while I'm managing my personal expectations, I think it's a bit unfair to be like, oh, this movie is going to be absolutely horrible. Like, okay, well, let's go watch it, go give it a shot. You know, fair change. What's your brother's thing?
Okay, because see, you're young. I'm always embracing the DC hate. They've been hating on DC ever since Batman 89. Okay.
Yeah.
Marvel finally gets on the big screen after Batman Begins with Spider-Man. And it's been that, and DC was still kicking their ass with just Batman by himself with their whole little whatever they were trying to do. Although those movies to me were fun, and a lot better than some of the newer stuff that Marvel has. The fans, and now with the internet, of course, the fans just automatically anything DC. Oh, it sucks. Oh, it's too dark. Oh, this ain't this. Oh, this ain't that. As a DC fan, you have to expect it's coming because we've been on top for so long, and Marvel finally got its little 10 to 15 year. Yay. DC's been here since the 30s and the 40s. We've always been on the big screen. Marvel is just now really getting there. And they cater towards the kids. DC stuff is more adultish and more grim. That's why I gravitate towards it more. Unless you're talking Daredevil, Punisher. I don't really care for Wolverine because everybody's like this fanboy for all that to do, except for when it came that team up with Wolverine and Deadpool. I got to tell you guys, that just blew me away. I loved it. But Logan. DC has always been hated on. Always been hated on.
True that.
Mm-hmm. Bishop, you've been awfully quiet, bro. What you got?
I think this movie is going to do good. It's not the Superman that I want, but I think this movie is going to do good, and I think it's going to do great with families. But to me, it's not.
Uh-oh, I think we're about to lose him.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
yeah, we hear you.
Oh, yeah. It's not epic. It's just like okay, you know. When I see the trailer.
So what you need is an epic. You need an epic thing.
Superman is epic. Superman is a god living amongst humans.
He's okay. He's
no
Batman.
I'm
okay.
saying the way that he's portrayed in the comics, he's a god trying to live amongst men.
Okay,
and
but
the stories that they tell in the comics, his story is grand. You know.
Okay, but you're seeing stuff that you never got to see in any other Superman movies before.
No. I didn't say I didn't like.
You got the so.
I'm not
the
saying
trailer
like
wasn't
anything.
grand enough for you, and now you're like, it's not grand enough. So
and also to me, like if I'm comparing trailers to trailers, okay, watch Zack Snyder's teaser trailer for Man of Steel.
It didn't do nothing for me. You know it didn't do nothing for me.
It may not done
because you took me to the movie.
All I'm saying is,
that's when I was like, okay, that was cool. But that first,
listen to me. All I'm saying is that the first teaser trailer that they had, or the first trailer that they had for Man of Steel, was testosterone-driven male.
Again, you're saying it was like that, and I'm telling you, I didn't see anything to make me go, "Ooh, I need to rush out to see this."
All right, so for me, when the trailer first hit for Man of Steel, I wanted to see it because it was Superman. You know, that's my man. You know, so it didn't matter what the trailer looked like. I was going to go see it because it was Superman. Same thing with Superman Returns with Brandon Routh. Didn't care what the trailer looked like. I was going to go see it because it was Superman, and I saw it twice. You know, my favorite part of that movie, Superman Returns, was when he caught the plane. I thought that was the most amazing scene for what it was at that time. The bullet to the eye was cool. The bullet to the eye was cool. That was because you've never seen him get shot in the face.
No,
that was the first time he was ever shot in the face. But when he caught the plane at the baseball game, and you saw but you saw the shock wave where he had to stop it, and you saw the inertia coming down where his hands went inside. That's what I was excited about, seeing Superman on the big screen again. Now, when it came to Man of Steel, I was going to go see it no matter what. Everything about that movie I loved. I can't even think of a great scene that I loved over any other scene in that movie. But then we get Justice League, but Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League, which had no trailer. It just said his name. And how many people? I know I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning. We were up at 6 a.m. to watch that before I had to clock into work at 9 o'clock, because I was trying to see the movie before I had to be to work. So we got up early just to watch that movie. And I was so impressed with his version of, Justice League.
Yes, sir.
Where we got at the movie, but and that movie, for not ever being at the movie theaters, has outdone anything Marvel has put out there, because people bought it. That made, I think, $1 billion in DVD sales, not because you couldn't see it at the movies. You either had to watch it on Max or you had to purchase it. I did both, but because I had to get a 4K version so I can watch it on my 4K TV and see exactly what I wanted, So.
No, but I feel you on that. But I mean, even with the Brandon Routh version of Superman, I was like, oh, okay, that looks interesting. I wanted to see it. Now, the first teaser trailer, when I saw that, the only thing that came to my mind, because I was like, but I wanted to know what knocked him in the dirt. But then when I got to see that second part of it, I was like, okay, cool. But I'm telling you, Man of Steel, when I saw it, I was just like, okay, it's Superman. Okay, but when I go to see the movie, because Bishop was there, he took me to see it. I love the way they made Krypton. They're riding dragons and shit flying in the sky. I was like, damn. Okay, so I love that. I love the way he tempered himself, picking up the tractor trailer and putting it on a pole.
Look, since we're talking about teaser trailers, some fun facts. So the Man of Steel trailer, because I had it playing while y'all was talking, so I can refresh my own memory. Man of Steel teaser was 12 years ago. Superman Returns was 14 years ago. At least these trailers they put up here,
right?
So with the Man of Steel, the grizzled Clark, out there, he trying to, trying to catch a ride, he's at sea, man, look at my beard.
Oh, but look, he take the shirt off when he.
Right.
That wasn't all you see is
this teaser. It wasn't in that one. Maybe a later trailer full on. But I think that's
in the movie. In the movie,
yeah. But I think that's what we're missing from this version. This iteration of Superman is, as the fans, we're looking, okay, we got an out of context extended version of a part of a trailer.
Correct.
And then shots from who knows what parts they're at, throughout the movie.
Right.
And so we need that concise, that 2 minute, 30-second, feature length trailer. And hey, okay, here's the story. Like, what's the story? We know what Metamorpho's probably gonna be in there. Like
I saw
what is he doing?
I saw. I think it's film threat.
I'm excited for Mr. Terrific personally.
I'm excited for Hawk Girl. I'm
sorry. I'm excited for Mr. Terrific, the third smartest man on the planet. So I want to see what he's got to do.
How all these diverse characters coming together?
CW didn't do them right.
For what reason?
Yeah.
And
there's got to be
of them, right?
Supposedly they're only in it. They're only in it for just a few minutes. They're not in it long. The movie is not focusing on them; it's focusing on Superman. But they're in it. But like I said, they say they're not in it for much.
And see, and then some of that.
Hold on. Go ahead.
How much of a trailer do y'all really want to see? I'm going to be honest. I try not to see too many trailers. because when I go to the movies, I want to be surprised of what's going on. And I kind of feel like if we know everything, what's going to happen, what this character is going to do, what that character is going to do, there's not going to be any kind of excitement when you actually go to the movie.
Right.
I mean, for this, I did sit down and watch trailers. Mark and I go to a lot of movies. I will see trailers in the movie. But for me, I don't want to see 3 or 4 trailers because I've gone to movies and seen all these trailers. And then when the movie started, I'm bored because I feel like if I already know what's going to happen because of all these trailers. So how much do y'all really want to see? Don't y'all want to be surprised?
Well, it depends.
It depends on the company.
It depends on the movie. And like if it's Batman, I'll eat it up and it doesn't matter. Like Bishop will go to a movie and he'll call me up and goes, I saw it. What did you think? You sure? Yeah, because it doesn't matter what you say. I'm going to go see it myself. It doesn't matter to me. Now, there are certain movies that, like the new Mandalorian movie, I don't want to know nothing about it. As soon as we're going to talk, Matt, I turn it off. I don't want to hear nothing because Lord knows they need all the help they can get. And this is a fan saying that. So I want to go in completely deaf and dumb when I go sit down in that theater. But for the most part, I kind of didn't want to know what was going on with Superman. I saw the initial part was seeing him spiral out of the sky and get slammed into the ground. I was like, I need to know who did that to him and why. That was it.
Agreed.
That's all I needed to know. Yeah. Then I'm at Yes Sir Toys, so I got to see, Rashad is like, you got to see this. And I'm like, okay. Oh, Fortress of Solitude. So it got me excited enough to really want to go opening day, because we don't do that no more. There used to be things where, an opening of a movie. Mark, I do.
This guy.
You know what I mean? We used to meet up, because remember they had like Thursday night, midnight showing of that movie.
Yeah.
You would go to that, and that was an event, Now it's 7:00 on a Thursday night. They're going to show you the premiere of that movie. Or you go up there just to get the popcorn bucket and all the gear, and then half the time they sell it on eBay after they get it. So I kind of get what you're saying, though, Vonda. There's certain movies that I will just I don't care. Show me more, because I want to see it. But then there are certain things like I said, like The Mandalorian. I don't want to know nothing. Not a damn trailer. I don't want to hear YouTubers talking about it. I want to go in deaf and dumb, sit down, and now you need to entertain me.
To answer your question, Vonda, for me, a trailer is supposed to get you excited about seeing the movie. Like back in the day when music videos was about buying the album of such and such artist, So to me, when I sit there and I hear, because they make movies now in a way that it's, anyway, they'll sit there and they'll announce a project 5 years before they even decide to make it. And you're like, oh yeah, I heard about that movie. I forgot about that movie. You sit there and you watch the trailer. And for me, it's like, am I going to go waste my money on this movie or not? And I'm a diehard movie fan, but movies have gotten so boring nowadays, so garbagey nowadays, that I sit there and I critique whether or not if I'm going to go waste my money on this to go see this movie. And the job of a trailer is supposed to get you excited about to go see this movie. So to answer your question, how many trailers should you watch till you get an idea of what the plot of the movie, and if it's got your interest enough to go see it. So because nowadays movies will sit there and do like a teaser for the teaser. They'll do like 3 trailers. And it's about 5 trailers that a movie will drop to get you, whether or not you want to see it. Honestly, I think 2 could be good, but nowadays, I just
they bait and switch us too.
And that's the other thing
something different.
Yeah. Marvel.
Times you only need one good trailer.
Right.
You don't have to have 7 trailers. If you have one good one, that's all you need. This trailer for Superman is the original trailer with the 2-minute scene added to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like for me, like I said, I didn't need anything else. I was happy with the first part, the first trailer.
Right. I was
And
interested by that.
Yeah. So I didn't need this extra part to be added to me for something I'm going to go see.
But my only complaint about this is I hope they're just not going to go laugh fest.
Yeah, I heard that he's made some changes, and there have been people that have seen it already, and it's doing well now since he's made a few of the reshoots. He's done some reshoots to it.
Right.
So
yeah, I just like Caliban said earlier, DC has always been serious. You know what I'm saying? Right. DC has always told serious stories, and sometimes, like especially Batman. Batman is the straightest of straight men. But if something's funny, it's something that goes on around him. It's not him, being the butt end of the joke or the cracking the joke.
Absolutely.
And Superman is like people talking about, Zack Snyder's take on Superman, it was just too dark. It's too serious. Superman is serious.
He's never been a joke until Christopher Reeve played him as a joke.
Right.
And now when I watch that movie, and everybody grew up with Christopher Reeves, but then you look at it now and it's disappointing because I'm so I look at him like I'm angry that it was a movie for its time, and I don't want anybody to compare. And that's what we discussed when we were at Convivial. Mm-hmm. Why did Christopher Reeves do Clark Kent the way he played him? Why did he make him goofy? No other person that's played the character has ever done it like that, except for Christopher Reeves and then Brandon Roth, because they made him follow what Christopher Reeves did.
Right.
So, when you look at Superman and Lois and Clark Kent, none of those people, the original Superman adventures, they were all straight-faced characters, but then you get Christopher Reeves being great, whatever.
But see, there was a run. He was playing like the 1950s, where but again, I get it. I get what you're saying. That's all I'm saying. I want this movie to be serious, and it can have its light moments. But Marvel has done one of the baddest things it could do is to take these great characters and look what they did with Fat Thor. I'm like, that's not Thor.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I'm a fan of Thor and this is what you did with my character, I would be so mad. Right. I know Hulk fans were mad because they don't get the Savage Hulk. We get this toned down, the smart Hulk. And I'm just like, come on now. And I just don't want them to do this to Superman. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got some diverse opinions, just like everyone else. So I think the synopsis is we're gonna go watch it.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it first weekend.
Let's move on because we press for time here. Gotcha. So one other in terms of trailers, and one that might do one better for you is Tron Ares, which I thought had a pretty cool name. So let's first, has anyone had the opportunity to see it yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
Yes.
All right. So it's gonna be Bishop's first time. All right. So let's let it rip. Minute 30.
I gotta ask, did anybody know this movie was coming out?
Yes, I did.
You did? Because I didn't
know. Oh, snap.
When we were at GalaxyCon, Ron he did a panel there, and people were talking to him about Tron, and he didn't say anything about there's a new movie coming out.
Right. Okay. Jeff Bridges? Oh, not Jeff Bridges.
No. I can't even think of the guy's name now.
Oh,
Leto?
Yeah.
Jared Leto.
No.
I'm talking about the actual guy that played the original Tron.
Oh, Bruce Boxleitner.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was
Commander Sheridan.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I love the colors. The red overtone looks awesome.
I like the fact that they, real world, you got the bikes still making the their little lines and stuff running into it and being destroyed. So that was fantastic.
Well, now I can switch my cosmic portal sign back to red. Yeah.
it looks good. I just hate what they did with the second Tron. You know, it diverted way far from the original.
I didn't like Jeff Bridges' role in the second one at all.
Yeah,
that was ridiculous.
Yeah, I was just like, come on, because the first Tron movie is basically about a program being written or being played by a user, and it's all about computer programming. The second one, they went so far left with. I'm just like, it's not even about what the first one was about anymore.
No.
Now, you know, they've taken Tron, made this that was a cerebral sci-fi movie, and they turned it into an action story.
So you do know that Disney is in control of that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know what you were expecting, but
yes, I'm saying Disney no more.
So I'll say this: when Tron first came out back in the 80s,
it was a great movie.
It was, like you said, it was a great movie. It was so far ahead of its time because it was a digital drawing, computer animated movie, and everybody, you run around making your life cycle. You hold the stick, you go forward. Now you're the bike. And, I played that game
That's what I was getting ready to say. That was the stuff.
Yeah.
When you get to the arcade game to play Tron Deadly Disc.
I love the spiders when you would shoot the spiders, to try to get into the middle thing. I love that game. So when the second one came out, all I thought about was the first movie, I wanted to see that again.
Right.
And it was different. It was totally different. I have no high hopes of this movie. I'm going to go see it because I love Tron, just to see what we got going on there. And hopefully it is as good as it was. I can't say that, but I'm hoping it's as good as it can be. I'll put it that way.
I mean, but do you think, look, you're talking about the cerebral nature of the first one. And while probably like a smaller studio or something like that could make something like a technology-based movie where it's more cerebral and things like that, do you think a major studio could make something like that? Like if they went that way with this version of Tron?
No. What was the Christopher Nolan movie with the spinning top?
Inception?
Yeah,
that was a cerebral sci-fi film.
It was also
they were boring. 3 levels deep.
Huh?
It was also boring.
Deep. Yeah, it was boring, but they were 3 levels deep.
Inside a dream.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I'm just gonna plant this little seed here, and we're gonna go home.
Yeah, right.
I mean, but we've had great sci-fi thrillers, back in the 80s. Mindscape, The Lawnmower Man.
That wasn't good.
You didn't like The Lawnmower Man?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, we had, a lot of those psychological
Scanners. That was a good.
Scanners. Yeah. Fire. What was it? The Fire Starter.
Yeah,
that was good.
That was all Stephen King stuff. Now you're talking about.
Yeah.
He had some great stories.
Close your eyes, cause it's another train.
Yeah.
So that's all we got to work with,
Yeah. But no, I'm looking forward to Tron. I love like we said, I love the movie, the original movie. I do try to watch it every now and then.
Yeah.
I did watch it once last year. The same time Calibus watched it, but I don't think I watched the second one that same day. But I know I watched the first one. Because I still love the first one,
I remember seeing that on TV, and back when you had little 20-inch television. I remember
13 inch. What are you talking about? You were living lost.
I remember sitting there seeing that
was
movie.
well off.
Whatever. And listen, anyway, I remember seeing that movie and I was just like, oh my God, it just blew my mind.
I didn't like it.
I mean,
no way. Come on.
No, I'm serious. Tron was, to me, I was like, You know what I mean? It wasn't really until Gore was like, Tron. I'm like, Tron?
Tron was a good movie.
I mean, it was all right. You know what I mean? Then I watched part 2, because it was Tron. And I'm going to watch this one because I like seeing light cycles in red versus just seeing them in blue, and the way they split open. So, I mean, for me, it's just a little bit of thing. You give me one little nugget of something, and I'm good to go see it. You know what I mean?
Look,
I never was a fan.
I don't want to burst anyone's bubble because I try to do
movies you mentioned
research.
with the 80s. The 80s was great when it comes to movies. We don't see that now,
Right.
and a lot of those movies that y'all just mentioned was 80 movies.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that no more.
Right.
I don't know if it's the writing, directing, the plot, whatever it is.
All of that. We don't have that. None of it.
I was gonna say now, I think they should go back like originally when Batman '89 came out. There was a horrible trailer that nobody saw. Most people, and I remember all I saw was a picture of Batman, the symbol, and that was it. And I was ready to go see that movie. So I think if you do I don't think you really need to do a really major trailer if you have a good story. And people are going to want to see the movie to begin with. This Tron, I hope people want to go see it. I felt the same way about Blue Beetle. That's a DC property. I thought people were going to eat it up because it was something different. I thoroughly enjoyed Blue Beetle, but it didn't do well because everybody was complaining they don't know who the character is. So I don't know what people want, so that gets
You're never going to be able to make them happy. Come on. We know
Yeah,
this.
that's what I have an issue with. This was something new and different. And now because that didn't do well, now we're going back to the top 3 for DC. And that's all you're going to get because that movie didn't do well. That was a great story that you didn't watch, and I think you should have seen it.
That's what they're at the executive level. They're throwing darts to see what's going to make money. They're not interested in creating a concise, evolving story like Marvel did at first, right? That was their objective. Now they're at the point Marvel's like, let's try this and let's try this. They've gotten away from the original formula. It was working. Why did you could have continued telling these elaborate, intricate stories that people would have continued to watch, but it probably wasn't making the kind of money that
you mean the birth of the MCU where we're going to replace everybody and make it all female and then hope that it works?
Not what we're talking about, sir.
You said cohesive stories. After Endgame, I have not seen a cohesive story,
and that's when I became uninterested in everything.
I
watched all the stuff. I watched Miss Marvel, and I was like, well, and every time I watch it, how does this tie into what happened with Endgame?
Right.
I mentioned
nobody
here
knows.
And there, just random things,
Look, you could ask AI, and AI can't even give you an answer for that.
Yeah. Because you got the Thunderbolts coming out, and that's every character. So
yeah. So I don't want to just be trailer guy all night. So we were gonna. I don't know, Cal. What do you think? We got time to talk about this Gundam stuff, or do we want to jump towards the?
You better make the time
end here.
You better make that time. You better make that time.
I'm looking at the clock, sir. No.
I don't look. Yeah, I'm the network, so you can.
Right. We'll save those topics for next show. We'll get into some anime and Gundam stuff. There's a little bit of news there. Real quick, you guys been doing any gaming? What's your gaming life like nowadays?
I'll be honest.
I understand.
I'll be honest with you. It's been COD for the last 2.5 years. I do still do the Star Wars online. The Knights. I'm not Knights. Star Wars: The Old Republic. That's been like my base go-to when I get bored with Call of Duty. But it's been Call of Duty, and now towards the end of January, I'm going back to the table, breaking out the die.
Let's go.
I'm ready.
Turn up. That's great.
And Squadrons. You're right, Rob.
Yeah.
Squadrons too. Yeah, Star Wars
Yeah.
Squadrons. Flying that
I've been
X-wing.
playing Monster Hunter myself. The new one, Wilds, that came out, is I'm a huge Monster Hunter fan. So when I'm not at work, that's been eating up my time. So we'll need to get some get you guys do you guys even have I got a PS5 and I play on my PC. What platforms y'all on? If
PS5, PS4,
Bishop, why you look like you tasting something nasty?
Xbox.
Oh no, I'm PC, Xbox, PC and Xbox, and what else? Yeah, PC and Xbox.
It's supposed to be PlayStation.
I do got a PlayStation 4, but I'm not up on it because it's in the bedroom.
I know you're not, sir.
But no, I'm playing Star Trek Online and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Nice.
I wanted to play that Harry Potter game.
Oh, good game. I haven't finished it yet.
If you do, you're supporting a bad person, apparently.
And that's why I want to play it.
Nice. All right. Well, we won't prolong the time. I appreciate everyone tuning in with us tonight. Hope you've enjoyed our conversations, our thoughts and opinions, and whether they made you upset or you agree with them. We don't really care because we're here to talk about what we want to talk about, how we feel about all the fandoms and what people are not doing in the trailers and how many trailers. And to answer your question, for me, one, I'm good, but it's neither here nor there. So we will be back in a couple of weeks with more topics to talk and argue with one another and call each other weird names over. We appreciate you joining us tonight. Blerds of Cosmic Portal. We're gonna find you, sir. Your comments. We're gonna find you.
I know where you live.
All right. So for Calibus, Bishop, Mark, Miss Vonda, I am Paladin, aka a whole bunch of other stuff. Thank you for joining us. We'll catch y'all next show.